Україні! Слава нації! Україна! 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 Героям України тричі!
Слава! Слава! Слава!
Friends, I would like to thank you all for coming here today. In spite of the many flies flying around, trying to fly in our faces. I know it's unfortunate, I've had to endure it myself, but thank you very much for being here, my friends. It's very important that we come here. I would like to remind you that our rallies, vast majority of the time that is, on a usual schedule, they happen on Wednesdays at 6 o'clock, on Fridays at 6 o'clock, and on Sundays at 3 o'clock here at 10 Downing Street. So please come and show your support. However, I would like to also remind you that this week, this is the only rally this week, my friends. There is not going to be any rally this Friday. There is not going to be any rally this Sunday. Please remember that, my friends. Do not come here this Friday and this Sunday because we have the Easter celebrations and many people want to celebrate Easter with their families. So in respect for that, we are not going to do our rallies on this weekend and on the Friday. Друзі, я хотів вам всім нагадати, що цього тижня у нас не буде протесту у п'ятницю і у неділю. Зазвичай, як ви знаєте, у нас є протести тут у 10 Downing Street у середу, у 6, у п'ятницю, у 6 і у неділю у 3 годині. Але цього тижня сьогодні єдиний протест. Тому ще раз нагадую, тому що останнім часом мені часто люди зі мною за це говорять, кажуть, о, побачимось у п'ятницю, побачимось у п'ятниці. Ні, друзі, цієї п'ятниці не побачимось. Так що у нас не буде цього разу. But my friends, we are here, once again, to tell people what's going on in Ukraine and what's the solution to this problem. Because unlike all of our petty opposition from the Not Our War movement, from the Stop the War movement, and all of these individuals, all of these apologists, all of these individuals who are welcoming the Russian terrorist regime and their many proxies, you could almost call them chickens for KFC in a way, almost. My friends, we need to remember that these individuals cannot be trusted. These individuals who claim that Russia is not a threat, they cannot be trusted. Russia has been a threat ever since its conception. Russia is the antithesis to the identities of the West, to the free world. It is that antithesis because they decided to become that antithesis. It's not something in the blood, no. Russians are the ones who believe that qualities stem from blood. It is their choice. It's the choice they have made. It's the choice their government has made to oppress the other governments around them. In opposition to that choice, we need to make our own choice also. We need to make our choice to be unequivocal from the support to the people who fight for freedom. That is our message today, my friends. And that is our message every single day we come here. That in order to win, in order to end this war, we need to stop Russia. Stop Russia, stop the war.
Stop Russia! Stop the war!
Stop Russia, stop the war.
Stop Russia! Stop the war!
Stop Russia, stop the war.
Stop Russia! Stop the war!
Help Ukraine, protect peace.
Help Ukraine protect peace!
Help Ukraine, protect peace.
Help Ukraine protect peace!
Help Ukraine, protect peace. Thank you.
Help Ukraine protect peace!
Arm Ukraine as you promised.
Arm Ukraine as you promised!
Arm Ukraine as you promised.
Arm Ukraine as you promised!
Arm Ukraine as you promised.
Arm Ukraine as you promised!
Arms keep peace. This is an ancient saying that holds true nowadays, my friends. It has always held true because unfortunately, we cannot simply imagine a perfect world where nobody wants to do you any harm and make it exist like that. That's not how reality works. We need to do something to achieve that. We need action and not mere words. Mere words will not stop terrorist regimes like Russia, terrorist regimes like Ayatollah Iran or North Korea from doing what they have been doing, waging their wars, creating their proxies, and destabilizing this world, making sure that the perspective of world peace is impossible as long as they stand, as long as they continue to function as terrorist regimes, who continuously fund the many proxies, the many terrorist organizations that we all know so well nowadays. Organizations like, for example, the Houthis, like, for example, Hezbollah or Hamas and many others. All of these organizations, my friends, are terrorists, and they need to be called as such. And once again, the terror attack, thank you very much, the terror attack in Moscow was a terror attack indeed, and we condemn it. Nobody celebrated on the Ukrainian side. On one hand, because we do not condone the killings of innocents. But on the other hand, my friend, because it's painfully obvious that it was an inside job by the FSB. The FSB has been doing such things ever since their conception. They, after all, are the heirs of the KGB, the heirs of the Soviet Union. That, my friends, that is what we oppose. We oppose archaic and obsolete regimes and ideologies such as communism, such as fascism and Nazis. Humanity needs to move on from such things and never to return to them. And make no mistake, the Russian terrorist regime loves to point fingers at people and shout Nazi, but at the same time they have 3 full-force battalions composed of Nazis fighting for them: the Wagner Group, Rusich, and the Sparta Battalion. In fact, there's many other smaller neo-Nazi battalions fighting for Russia that we must not forget about. And of course, we must not forget about the fact that the Soviet Union was in complete cooperation with Nazi Germany at the beginning of World War II. In fact, it's truly a miracle that the Allies did not declare war on the Soviet Union when they started invading Poland alongside Nazi Germany. It could have happened. They are just as much to blame for the suffering of the Polish people and as the Germans were. And no one forget about that. Stalin and Hitler were in cahoots with each other. And nowadays, what a surprise! Putin is in cahoots with the far-right parties all over the world. And the far-left parties too. Because of course, Putin shills for both sides of extremists. He shills for religious extremists just as much as he shills for ideological extremists, like communists. Let's not forget about that, my friend. Let's not forget about how Hitler and Stalin were working together, how communism and Nazis worked together against the free world in the past. And the answer to why they were cooperating so much when World War II began is obvious. They would much rather cooperate with a fellow strong man than in a country with checks and balances, where the will of the people can actually be heard. You know, nowadays, democracy gets a very bad rap. We all start pointing out flaws in it. We all start saying, oh, but that's imperfect, this is imperfect, it's not like we actually decide anything, is it? Wrong. If you decide, in the end, we do decide, my friends. Because in the countries where there's no democracy, people don't have the ability to criticize at all. It's funny, isn't it? It is the paradox of utopia. The countries that are the most akin to dystopias are the ones who present themselves as utopias the most. Because whoever does not like it, whoever is not content, can never speak, can never say a word about what's truly going on there. That, my friends, is the paradox of the dystopia that masks itself as a utopia. That is why in North Korea we can see all of these robot-like people clapping in unison when their chubby little leader shows up and shows his chubby cheeks to the world once again, whilst his people starve to death. That, my friends, is the reality in countries like North Korea, Russia, and Ayatollah Iran. That is what the far right wants. But what about the far left? Well, they're not far from that. They want a dystopia, like North Korea also. Or usually they mention Cuba, yes. All the problems that Cuba has, all the problems created by their own government, the corrupt government that took power from the people and is oppressing them now, the corrupt government that has created one of the biggest migration waves ever from Cuba, is now blaming, of course, the USA and the West of all of its problems. Because, of course, it is their fault that there's corruption in Cuba. It's their fault that it's a complete authoritarian regime that no one wants to live in. People vote with their feet. What this means is not that people write with their feet, my friends. What this truly means is that people go where life is better. And that is how we can see which countries are good and which countries are less good. Who wants to live in Russia? Who wants to live in North Korea or Iran? No one. Who wants to live in the West? Everyone. That is the only proof we need that the West is better. And all of these new countries representing the enslaved world. And I say new, because the Russian terrorist regime of nowadays was not always exactly the same way. No, in the past, the long past, it was the Grand Duchy of Muscovy and the Tsardom of Moscow. Then it became the Russian Empire. After that it became the Soviet Union. And now, lo and behold, we have the Russian terrorist regime, or the Great Khanate of Moscow, as I like to call it. This great kleptocracy, this country-sized criminal syndicate, it did not originate in a day. Putin has been creating his network of criminals for years. And many people, including in the West, have contributed to his rise to power. That will not be forgotten, my friends. Because we remember the people who helped us. We remember the people who have aided us, who stood by our side. But we also remember those who have betrayed us when their help would count the most. Because if we do not remember what happened in the past, my friends, we are doomed to repeat the past. And that is not something that we are here to do. We are here to inform people. We are here to discuss with people, to hear people's opinions also. Not only the people who agree with us, we've always been very welcoming of people with different opinions, to come to us and voice those opinions. However, experience tells us that these individuals who oppose us never have anything decent to say. They either come and shout something incoherently and run away immediately, so they don't hear any answer to that question. It's funny, truly, when somebody asks a question and does not wait for you to answer that question, you can truly see that, you can truly see that these individuals do not want to hear that answer. That all they want to do is to ask the question that they feel like earned them some brownie points, a gotcha moment from the enemy, their enemy, which is you in this case. And then they flee, because they're afraid. They're afraid that you might actually be able to answer properly and coherently. That is what scares them the most. People who are able to justify their opinions, people who are able to explain why they believe in what they believe in. That is not what they want, no. They want blind obedience. That, my friends, is what the Russian terrorist regime wants. If they do not get blind obedience, they kill you. They oppress you, they torture you, they put you in jail. They say you're a foreign agent, like they're doing in Georgia right now. They're trying to turn Georgia into a new region of Russia. In fact, they've already been discussing the annexation of Abkhazia and South Ossetia in Georgia. Belarus is effectively under Russian occupation right now. What's going to be next? Perhaps Kazakhstan. Perhaps they're going to try to take over Moldova.
Alaska.
Or Alaska. They've been talking about Alaska. They have not been silent about Alaska.
Make Alaska great again.
Oh, exactly. Beep, beep, boop. But my friends, I digress. It's very important that we remind people of what's going on. Because some people, unfortunately, are sleeping to the true danger of the many terrorist regimes and their proxies that exist nowadays in this world. Terrorist regimes like Russia, like Iran, like North Korea. And the time to sleep is over. We are here to wake people up so that they are not murdered in their sleep. Whoa, wake up!
Whoa, wake up!